Hi everyone, it's me. I am back with a review, I guess it is, on and some basic information about some of the different watercolor markers that are out on the market now. Some of them are older and some of them are newer, and I've been kind of crazy over watercolor over the past few months, and I recently made some big purchases that I wanted to share with you because I shared them on Instagram and a lot of people were asking me about them and asking me if they were any good. So I didn't do a whole lot of testing, but I did do a couple things, so I wanted to just share that with you as well. My inspiration was from Jennifer McGuire. She recently did a review on the Zig, what are they called? Clean color markers. And I am pretty sure I saw those when I was in Japan. And I don't know why I just kind of dismissed them. I was like, Zig, I don't know, whatever. And I didn't even think that I would want them. So when I came back, I saw her video. I'm like, man, I could have got them while I was in Japan. And I think they had like all the colors there. I don't know how much they were, because I didn't know at the time, so I didn't even research it. But I got mine on Amazon, and they are not cheap, but it's probably cheaper than Copics. So if you are debating whether to go Copics or watercolor, you might want to consider watercolor because I think now the market, the industry has come up with some really good products, easy to, what is it called? Control and get really nice results. So let me kind of just go over you know, the the different types that I looked at. So, everybody kind of knows by now that we have distress markers. I have the original set that was sold. I don't think I really bought much more since then. I've used them a little. I don't use them that much. I had a hard time using them initially. And it's funny because as I was playing with it today, I didn't have a hard time. Only, I guess, before, maybe I just didn't know how to use watercolor in the past. But whenever you use distress markers, they have two tips. One is a brush tip, and the other side you can use like to write. It's like a plastic tip. So, like I said, I don't use them all that much. It's okay. The colors are a little bit grungier than my taste, but at the time, this is like all there was, and I was very Tim Holtz crazy when they first came out. Like I was totally into the craft god Tim Holtz. So I did purchase all of them when I was really into the whole distress inks and stains type of thing. But I haven't used them all that much. But maybe I might use them more often now because it does have a different color palette than some of the other companies that I did purchase recently. Okay, so the second set that I'm gonna review is the Spectrum Nor. Oh, I don't know if they're Nor. I keep calling it that, but they're Spectrum Aquas, and these are the different sets that I bought. I bought four sets. One is called Essentials, and if you look, it's like neutrals. There's one called Nature, so it's a little bit more like darker tones. This is the primary set, and the floral, which is my favorite because I like all the pinks and purples that are included in that set. So each set comes with 12 markers. I took them out of the packaging, but um, they. Um, I guess there's no overlap when you buy them, each set. I don't know how much each marker normally runs, but I did do a price comparison when I bought mine. A set of 12 was about $30. So all the different ones would have been 120. Wait, 30, 60. Okay, 120 for, what is that, 48 markers? I guess that's kind of expensive. So, but I ordered them through a group buy, and it took quite a while to get here. So I only recently got them, maybe like a couple months ago, even though I ordered them like 3 or 4 months ago. But anyway, I just kept this part for the information so I knew which sets I did buy, but I just keep them stored right now in my little bag here. So this is how many I have. I have not used all of them. Oops, I just dropped one. I've only used mostly the prettier colors. I hardly use any of the browns yet. So they have two sides, two tips. The one with this white band here is the thicker tip here, and there is the name on the edge. So this one is aquamarine. The other tip is like a plasticky tip that you can write with. Um, I They're okay. I've been using them a lot more to do backgrounds, like I did in my last project share where I did the smooshing. So I use these colors because I like how bright they are, like that. So what I do is like I said, I color on the craft mat. I pick it up with, I spray it and then I pick it up with the acetate sheet and then I smoosh it down, and that seems to work well with these. The other thing that I heard somebody say, I think it's the Frugal Crafter, she said that you can stamp with these, so you can get the marker and actually color up your image with this and stamp with it. So I also tried to do that in this video, so I'll show you that a little bit later. But overall, I'm happy with the colors that I got. They don't blend as well as some of the other ones that I'm going to review, so let me get into the next sets. Okay, so the next one that I bought was this Zig Clean Color Real Brush Markers, and I got the set of 48. It comes with 48 and it's a good variety of colors. I'm not going to take it all out because there's so many in here, but eventually I guess what I should do, like what Jennifer McGuire did, is she punched the dot and stuck it on the top so that it's easier to see if you're going to keep it in this case. Now I have no idea if you're supposed to store them this way. I'm guessing that's the best way to store them because that's how they're in the set. And then the other thing is that each pen came individually wrapped. So I'm sure that that helped to seal in whatever. Sometimes while I was unwrapping them, I found that the covers would come out pretty quickly, pretty easily. So you want to make sure that your covers are on good before you store them. They have a really, really, really nice tip. And they are brush markers. So this is an actual brush. It's not like a felt marker. And look how thin and pointy the tip is. So you have a lot more detail and control with these, and they do color and blend quite nicely. So I will show you some examples of that shortly. But I ordered this also from Amazon. I saw them in some other sites. They were much more expensive. I got mine on Amazon. I almost got the set of 64, but I ended up getting the set of 48. I think it was less than $100. So I guess maybe it comes out cheaper than the other ones. But the other set that I think the set of 64 was over 100, but I get free shipping, so I didn't have to pay because I'm on the Prime thing, but I didn't pay extra for shipping. But the other thing that was a little bit frustrating is that I guess the company that I bought it through from Amazon, I think they're based in Japan, and I ordered them in May, and I didn't get them till just like the other day, which was like of maybe 3 or 4 weeks. I had to wait for them. So I've been waiting for quite a while. So I was getting a little irritated because I wanted them already. But they did send me a notice when it shipped, and it was a few weeks after when I initially placed my order. So it did take a long time for it to get here. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you're impatient like me, you may want to go through another vendor. Okay, and then while I was waiting, I was getting more impatient, and I just one day impulsively decided to buy this other set, which is the one I was actually looking for when I went to Japan. These are the Akashiya Sai. I think that's how we say it. Pens that I've been kind of looking at. My friend Marissa, who is Creative Young Mama here on YouTube, had purchased these from Jet Pens. And so I was looking online before I left. And then when I went to Japan, I had gone to Tokyo Hands and I saw these pens. I was in search of them and I saw them, and the set of 20 was like $50. And so I was like, what? I can't remember how much it was on Jet Pens, but let me just check. So I checked Jet Pens while I was in the store, and it was like 30 something. And I was like, maybe I should just buy it when I go back to the States. So I didn't buy it. There was no discount for getting the whole set versus the individual pens. So I just decided not to get it while I was in Japan. And like I said, meanwhile, I think I did see the Zig markers there. So I could have bought the set there. I have no idea if it was cheaper or not, but oh well. Anyway, so I came home and I went on jetpens.com and I was kind of going to place my order, and then it was out of stock. So I had to wait some more, and then but in the meantime I was getting distracted by the Zig pens. And then after that one didn't come right away, I'm like, I think I'm gonna buy these Sai pens to see how good they are. So I ordered these just like a few weeks ago, and I got them like the day after I got the Zig ones. Anyway, so now I have all of them. I have tons of them. So these have their own case, and it's kind of nice for storage. And the pens, it does also have a fine tip pen. It's not as fine as the Zig ones, so let me kind of show you the Zig one so you can see. Okay, so here's the Zig one. Look how skinny that point is versus this one. See? So it is much thinner to get the Zig one. But I think they're pretty comparable. I think you can get relatively same results. But this one I didn't see as many colors in the Sai markers. So I guess it's just gonna be what you prefer. The other thing that people are saying is that you actually don't need a whole lot of markers. Like a lot of people who have them, the Zig ones are discouraging people from feeling like you have to get like these huge sets, because they're saying that, I'm guessing it's because you can, when you use the water, it kind of like makes it lighter, so you'll get like a whole range of colors just with one marker. Anyway, let me kind of just show you what I meant. So I went into my local scrapbook store because she was asking me, she knew I had the pens and she was asking me what I thought, and so I took my pens down there and we played a little bit. So I started, playing with some of the colors and trying to see which ones blend out the best. This one here is the first one that we used, which was the Spectrum Noir or Spectrum Aquas. And then these two, this one, this darker purple, is the Sai pens, or the Akashiya size. And then this is the Zig ones. And you know what? I think out of all of them, I kind of like the Zig one the best. This one is the Zig one here. I just colored a little bit, and then I used the water brush and I faded it out. It is really, really easy to do shading. You do not need three colors like how you do with Copics, two or three colors. You just need this one pen and you can get this whole ombre look relatively easy. So the only other thing that you'll really need is something like this. This is the Tim Holtz or Ranger water brush. I have the thin head, and I also have the wide one, the wide brush, but I mostly use the thin one. And you will also need watercolor paper. So aside from that, I don't use the real textured or the real thick water paper. I use the thin one, and I don't have a problem stamping on it, but some people have complained about stamping on watercolor paper because it's so textured. So let me just kind of show you what I've done and what I've played with. Okay, so I used this new set that I got from W+9. I used this butterfly right here, and you are going to want to stamp it in something like this, which is archival ink, something that's waterproof, or you might want to emboss it, like heat emboss it, because then your watercolor, when you use the water, it will not bleed your ink. So So that's what I stamped mine with, which is the Ranger Archival ink. And then I did a comparison using similar colors just so you can really see the difference. Okay, so the first one I did was the Zig Clean color. And um, the cool thing about it, I guess because it has that brush nib, is that you can go back and add in more color shading if you want, even though the paper is wet. So you can add in color wherever you want and then just use your water brush and use that to fade the color. So as you can see down here, I have more shading. All I did was color around the edge and then I pulled the color in to the middle of the butterfly. And that's how I got that effect. Then I just did a little bit of a scribble here and then I faded it out for an ombre look using the watercolor marker. The second butterfly here is the Spectrum Aqua markers, and this one, as you can tell, it didn't blend out as nicely. It's a little bit more splotchy, which is actually kind of how watercolors kind of ends up looking. So if you like that look, then this might be a fine choice for you. I like this one better because I could control it better. I think because the tip is finer. This one I was using the fat tip and I was having a little bit harder time. But again, I only went around the edges with the color, with the pen, and then I used the water brush to kind of pull the color out from the sides. And again, I did that same thing where I colored a little bit and then I tried to pull the color out using the water marker. And as you can tell, this one has a little bit more difficult time doing that than this one did. So, I don't recommend this one for this purpose. Like I said, I use it more for doing the backgrounds, like the smooshing technique and that kind of stuff. But, the main reason why you want a watercolor marker is because you want the control, I would think. Otherwise, you would just use watercolor paints, right? And a paintbrush. So, because the whole purpose was for me to have more control, that's why I like this Sig Clean color marker better. And I'm sorry, but this lighting doesn't do it justice. Like if you see it in real person, it is much nicer than what it looks like here. Okay, and then the third one is the Akashiya Sai pens, and this one had also nice blending. I think it's very comparable to the Zig Clean color. So if you already have these, you may not necessarily need the Zig ones. I think the Zig ones have more colors available though. So it's just your preference. I'm sure you could probably mix and match them because they are all water based or watercolor based. And then I also did the same thing here where I blended it out, and this one also blended out really well. So those are the three new sets that I got. And then I also went back and I did the distress marker, and actually didn't have as much problems this time trying to blend it out like I did before. But as you can tell, this is darker. Like this is broken china and I think shabby shutters. And these colors are much brighter than these. So again, this lighting doesn't do it justice, but this one, I think you can kind of tell which one is brighter. I prefer pastels and brighter colors than the darker grungy colors, so it just depends on your color preference. And then again here, I did a little bit of scribbling and then I pulled the color out using the water brush. And like I said, for some reason it seemed to work really well this time. And then just for fun, I decided to color up using the Spectrum Aqua pens. I colored the stamp itself and then I stamped it. So you can then, if you do that, you can then use your water brush and then pull the color to actually color up the whole image in like a faded look. So that is my samples, and I guess if you were to ask me if I didn't buy any of these now, and I got to try all of them before I bought them, if you were to ask me which one I would invest in, I probably would say the Zig Clean color markers. I Again, the main reason for me is because I like the control. I think they're a lot easier to use than Copics, and I think you get really nice results. Like, well, for me, I'm just really into the watercolor look right now, so this is just something that I really, really like. Like, I think that it's worth it. I have no idea if these markers are refillable. I'm hoping they are. So I'm trying to find out more information about it. But and these are also very good too. So if you have these, don't feel like you got, a junk deal. They were actually very economical because it was a set of 20 for like 20 something dollars. So that was probably the cheapest I think that I got out of all of the sets. I, if you have the Spectrum Aquas, I don't think that they were a bad purchase, but I do think that these offer better control over the color that you're actually putting down. Okay, if you care, hopefully this helped you, but you know, you just gotta try it sometimes because what works for you or what works for somebody else may not necessarily work for you. I know myself, I do not necessarily like using regular paintbrushes because I just don't feel like I have good control. So that's why I rather use like a marker than like actual paint. But you can decide for yourself what works for you. The other thing that I've seen like Jennifer Maguire do is she will use, or was it her? Yeah, I think it was her. And she actually did watercolor using her Wink of Stella pens. And so you can pick up the color using your Wink of Stella pens and it'll give your image like a totally glittery, sparkly look. So I gotta try that one day, but I only did this as samples to show you the differences in the different pens and the colors. So I wish I had better lighting in here to kind of show you like how nice and vibrant these colors are even after you use the water on them. But yeah, my lighting is not great here. But it's like I said, don't feel like you wasted money. But if you are looking to purchase a set of watercolor pens and you do have a limited budget, then I think you should consider the Zig ones because I think they probably have the best vibrant colors, color selection, and control of the pen. The thing I like about it is that it has a lot of pastel colors, and you don't need to use as much water to get to that color. So it's a little bit easier again to control. Okay, well, if you have any questions about what I've done here, and if you want, more information, if I know, I will help you out and give it to you. But or if you want me to do something else, like I don't know. If you thought of something that you want me to try out with these pens, then let me know, and I will try to do another video for you. Okay, hope that helps. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. I have to get back to Game of Thrones. Okay.